Whoops. Anything looking different? Could just be that I had to move everything. So, I spent a really long time cleaning up my mess, and about 4 days later, I had to make a new one. Because the siding people are coming. So, this is last looks before that gets changed. It needed to be done really bad. The siding is rotting out here. See how nasty that is? I mean, it's gotta go. It's masonite, so it falling apart could potentially attract termites. Back here is really bad too. So, it's time. Beyond time. Oh, I don't think I ever showed y'all I got my Vandas up in here. I haven't watered yet. It's real early. I haven't done much but coffee. I've done coffee, that's all. So yeah, this is last looks. I don't know what I'll be able to do in the way of videos over the next couple weeks because there's going to be construction going on. There's going to be people everywhere out here, so I'll have to be working around them. But I have gone ahead and rearranged things into a pattern that's going to be easier to water. This should work a lot better for me. This way I can kind of start over here, work my way through here, water what I can reach over here, and I can say hi to Flower. She's afraid of the camera, so I'm not getting too close to her. And I can come around here, then come this way, water all these guys, like so, and come back here, and water these guys, and then come this way, water these, water those.
Now, one question for you. What are those?
And water these. These and those, these and those. Aren't these guys pretty? So, yeah, okay. That's the update for now. Oh, I'm kind of nervous. Because I'm not going to play with my plants. I'll probably be doing most of my work in the front yard for the next couple weeks. Pretty. 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 Gonna be pretty. It was pretty yesterday. Need to deadhead these guys. It's still pretty. The neighbors decided to start mowing. Don't know if you can hear me, probably not. So in the meantime, I'm gonna blow up this super tacky pool raft. Today's video is going to be extremely brief because there really just isn't much to update on. The siding people came, which I have a clip of that I think I'm going to play before all this. And they've started. The progress has been very, very slow, as to be expected with construction. So as a result of them being... Cheers! Here, I don't remember if this is in my former clip or not, but I had to move all my plants off the house. So now I have created like a little room sort of situation in here to sit, and it makes it easier to water because I can just... And then once they're done, which is going to be shortly, they said 2 weeks construction. They always seem to say 2 weeks, but we're supposed to have a few days of rain next week, so it could be another 2 weeks in addition to this week. But either way, that's not too far off, and then I'll be able to start getting a lot of this stuff planted. For the time being, I'm going to start working on my planters. Like, I have all of these awesome sempervivums down here that are out of the good lighting. But these guys are going to be going in one of my big clamshell planters. And I got some Senecio, some string of pearls to put in front of those. And I have to replant my bananas along the berm that, oh, it was my birthday this week and I graduated. It's been a very busy week and a very exciting week. Hence the cheers. I didn't even clarify that. Cheers, everybody. I know it's not traditional to put ice and an umbrella in your champagne, but I am kind of far from traditional. So that's okay. You got to do what you like. So there's a berm down here under the happy birthday sign, and it's normally full of bananas, but they didn't really come back this year for various reasons. I think it's because when we protected them last winter, the leaves got put down on top of the stumps before the mulch, and it's supposed to be the other way around, but somebody else did it for me because I was preparing for my board exam, so they were trying to be nice, and I'm not going to complain about that. But when you put the leaves down before the mulch, the leaves tend to rot, and when they rot, they get liquidy, and then they can freeze, and then when they freeze, it kills off the trunks. So I didn't get the kind of regrowth that I should, especially considering this past winter was extremely mild for where we had easily, I would say, a zone 7A, 7B on the border winter, and I live in zone 6A, 6B, which is unusual. In February, we had a few days in the 70s and 80s, which is also unusual. So the bananas, given that mild winter, should be doing a lot better. The bananas that are close to the house are doing well because it's very well insulated. It's in a pocket. They're down there where the construction's happening. Can you see them? You see them? There they are, hiding inside the ladders. I need to bring those cushions out. There's the cushions. I threw them over there. They're really dirty. I don't know how they got dirty sitting in the attic. I guess I'm going to have to give those a scrub and maybe Scotch guard them? Is that a thing? Yeah, you can Scotch guard them. I've done it with the cushions out here before. So I'm going to do that. I picked up some new bananas at Ace Hardware. They're not really looking great. And I prefer to shop at local nurseries and support local nurseries, but the bananas they had this year were in little, 4-inch pots, and they were asking $16 a piece for them. I just couldn't bring myself to that. Even though bananas grow very quickly, Ace Hardware has them in I think they're 3-gallon nursery pots, the 10-inch pots, 10-inch pans, and they're about 3.5, 4 feet tall for $17.99. So as much as I like to support the local businesses as much as possible, I also am impatient with growing my plants. So I did get those from a major hardware store, and I picked up some sempervirums from Walmart, but for the most part, almost all of my plants here are from a nursery here in St. Louis called Greenscape Gardens, and I absolutely love them. They have a knowledgeable staff. They have an excellent selection of tropicals, an insane selection of tropicals considering we do not live in a tropical climate here. Okay, back to the berm. So that berm, as the trees are getting bigger, this is the berm beyond the birthday sign. Out in the distance, these trees that are around it are getting so much bigger that berm is continually just getting more and more shade, and as that's happening over the years, we're not really gonna be able to grow the bananas there practically because they don't get the sun that they need. Bananas need sun. I'm surprised they even grow as well as they do with the shade that they're getting. So I decided I wanted to plant a hedge or a semi-hedge. They're not going to be quite planted close enough together that they're actually touching, but that's okay. And I'm going with euonymus. I like the idea of using euonymus because they're evergreen here in zone 6A, 6B. And this particular type doesn't get very big. It has variegation. And the best thing about them is with euonymus, you can usually go shade to sun, or at least part shade to sun. They're very versatile that way. And with these variegated euonymus, the variegation is going to look different depending on the amount of light they're getting. You can see here, this plant, this euonymus, the variegation is more of a green on green. It's getting yellower down here as they're getting more sunlight. I had to go to 2 different stores to get as many as I need. Whereas this is the same type of euonymus, but the variegation is much heavier. And on the camera, it looks creamy and kind of beautiful. In real life, it's yellow. And, yellow's fine, but I really prefer this right here over this because this is just a little bit loud for what I'm trying to do. I just want to create a small privacy hedge that's going to be low maintenance and cheap. And man, were these guys cheap. These were $9.99. I went to 2 different stores. It's the same plants. These were $9.99 at one store, and the others were $11.99 at another. I don't know why. They're the same plants, but it's okay. They're in very different areas. I was out in the country when I picked up the $9.99 ones, and I was here in St. Louis County when I got these guys, so that probably has something to do with it. And the country store I got these from had just been flooded, so I wanted to go out there and buy the plants from them because they're struggling to get things back in order. So those are the projects for now. Oh no, there's one more pretty major project. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, the fan's going. I have these trellises back here behind the fans, and singular. I need to paint those up. I'm gonna paint those trellises, and I have some dipladenias to plant on them, and I need to swap out the spring mix that I have in there from an earlier video with the spring planters. There's what are there? The cool wave pansies and daisies and some dianthus. There were lilacs in there. I already pulled the lilacs out because they were done blooming. And I don't think lilacs look that great when they're not in bloom. They're not my favorite shrubs when they don't have flowers on them. They just kind of look like something you'd see in the woods, which I mean has its place, but not in these formal pots. So I need to do that. Maybe swap out this palm because I did bring my banana out, but when I bring my banana out, I have to cut all the foliage off to get it outside. Who's texting me? Everybody knows. No, they don't. Okay. Yeah, I had to cut all the leaves off to get it out of my garage because the leaves weigh it down and they will actually break the trunk off from the pot. So, but that's okay. These ensete bananas, they grow so fast. It's alright. It's just going to help it produce a thicker pseudo trunk and do better with the wind. Last year we had some instances with storms where it was so top heavy and it would be windy and it was actually blowing the trunk over like parallel to the ground. I had to stake it back up. So hopefully that won't happen. This is this banana's 4th year, so it's going to potentially flower this year, and if it does that, then it will die, because once bananas flower, they die. But I was prepared for that. Last year I went ahead and I got another one that was small and cheap and started growing it up to replace this guy, should it flower and die this year. I also got some new plants in the mail. The last order came in. Should we talk about that? Okay, I'll go get them. So here are the noobs. Almost everything on this top shelf here is new from here and over. I got some this Stromatum giganteum that just came in a pot, which I think is kind of pathetic for something being delivered in mid-May. Oh, I should go ahead and say, this is all from a website called Brian's Botanicals, and they have a pretty good selection of weird and unusual things, but they, just like everybody, there's pros and cons. Like I said, I do think that sending a dormant bulb out in May is kind of ridiculous, but that's okay. Maybe they don't use hoop houses or hot houses to get things going. Then I got this nice spiglia, which I think is also called Indian pink here. A bunch of these petasites japonicus. I really love these. They're great in the shade. They have pretty heavy variegation on them. They remind me a lot of the pothos or pothos, or as my friends call them, pothos. They remind me of when you're someplace tropical and you see the pothos that are kind of taken over. I think they're also, the name is epininium for that, the true name. So I'm going to be putting those along that berm I was just talking about because they do well in moist shade. And it's shady over there and it's very moist. I've been working on getting the drainage fixed for a while, but it's still kind of wet and sticky. And then I've got this guy whose tag is cut. So I can't remember what it is. Let me Typhonium Roxburgii. Burgi. It's a fairly hardy, very tropical look. Oh my goodness. Have I been out of focus this whole time? I'm so sorry. There we go. So that's a fairly hardy, very tropical looking plant. I've got 3 different types of caladiums here that look okay. This is bicolor. Turn it so you can see the leaves. It's a pretty caladium. I believe this one is one of the poison dart frogs. And that's one of their... The poison dart frog is one of their hybrids at Brian's Botanicals, and it's very beautiful. I think this last one is Florida Beauty. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and get a nice look at that foliage on the Florida Beauty. And I did get a new ensete. This is the ensete glaucum right here, also called the snow banana. It's going to be similar to the ventroscoma or the morelli, but green and maybe more cold hardy. I don't know. I'm not going to be trying to keep it outside during the winter anyways. They're so easy to overwinter in the house or in the garage that just doesn't seem worth the risk. Okay, so that was an awful lot of rambling. I covered an awful lot of things. This is what it's like in my head at most of the times when I have this much to do. It's fun, right? Or is it chaos? I hope I didn't trigger any anxiety attacks. I'm sorry if I did. And lastly, I want to apologize because something is up with YouTube's notifications. I don't know what the problem is, but I, throughout the past week, have been getting notified of people leaving comments on my videos that they left like a year ago, and I'm just now being notified on them. And some of them I had already seen. They weren't even new comments. And then I have seen a lot of comments from the past couple months that I was never notified on, and I checked my comments and I've never seen them until this past week. So I have a lot of catch up to do. I'm really sorry. I'm not ignoring anybody. I really enjoy discussing with people, and the encouragement that we can give back and forth, and the education, and just that lovely pursuit of knowledge, I think is a wonderful thing. Basically, it's fun to nerd out with my plant friends, so I'm really sorry if you have commented and messaged me and I haven't responded. That's nothing personal, and I think I might go ahead and try and get all my comments together that I haven't responded to and maybe do a response video. Might be more fun to engage that way. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I got this for my birthday. You see him? Isn't that just the cutest, most tacky thing you've ever seen? Not right. I'm sure I've shown things that were much more tacky than that. Kind of like this pink flamingo that's about to get full enough to go in there with him. Okay, that's all for today. Well, really for this week. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that your next week goes wonderfully. And happy garden, everybody. Bye-bye.